Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan and BJP slammed the opposition for creating confusion on the vaccine issue and called it an insult to Indian scientists. The Health Minister says different standards earmarked for the emergency use licenses for Covishield and Covaxin. Talks between government and agitating farmers underway in the national capital. The government and farmers had earlier reached a consensus on 2 of the 4 demands in the last meeting held on December 30. Prime Minister Narendra Modi stresses the importance of global acceptance of made-in-India products, apart from the global demand, and also inaugurates the National Atomic Timescale and a directory for standard products. Income tax officials question Robert Vadra for alleged Benami properties that he purchased in United Kingdom through an arms dealer. Cold wave conditions prevail in North India. Light rain occurs in isolated places due to the active western disturbance. More rain is likely in Delhi, western Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana today as well. And the entire Team India, including 5 players who were spotted breaking the isolation norms, have tested negative for COVID-19 ahead of the 3rd test in Sydney, scheduled for January 7. Namaskar and welcome to the news. You're with the news here on DD News and DD India. My name is Mark Lynn. Here's our top story. The Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan slammed those spreading falsehoods after approval for restricted use in the emergency situations of 2 COVID-19 vaccines. Dr. Harshvardhan, in a series of tweets, has said, and I quote, "For those spreading rumors, let it be known that EUA for Covaxin is differentially conditional in clinical trial mode. EUA for Covaxin is different from Covishield because its use will be in clinical trial mode. All Covaxin recipients to be tracked, monitored as if they're in trial." Harshvardhan also said that Covaxin approval is monitored approval with strict follow-up and rolling review. The approval ensures India has an additional vaccine shield in its arsenal, especially against potential mutant strains in a dynamic pandemic situation. The strategic decision of our country's vaccine security. The BJP too has slammed the Congress party for the stand that the Congress has taken and the falsehoods that are being spread on the development of vaccines in India.
आज जब ये वैक्सीन आया है, कोविड पर प्रहार होगा, 2 वैक्सीन आए हैं, उनके प्रोटोकॉल के विषय में देश के वैज्ञानिकों ने बात भी की है, ICMR ने बात की है, डायरेक्टर कंट्रोलर जनरल ऑफ ड्रग्स ने बात की है, उन सब ने बात की है। 2 प्रजाति बहुत परेशान है वैक्सीन आने के बाद। कोरोना वायरस बहुत परेशान है और कांग्रेस पार्टी बहुत परेशान है। समझ में आ रहा है कोरोना वायरस क्यों परेशान है, क्योंकि कोरोना वायरस के दिन अब गिने चुने रह गए हैं। कांग्रेस क्यों परेशान है, इसका जवाब कांग्रेस को ही देना पड़ेगा। कांग्रेस और कोरोना दोनों परेशान हैं।
And the Vice President and Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, M. Venkaiah Naidu, has hailed the emergency authorization of 2 COVID vaccines yesterday as India's leap of science that benefits humanity at large. Writing on social media, the Vice President stressed that this is an indication of how Atmanirbhar Bharat can benefit not only the Indians but the larger humanity. Naidu also said that India is in the forefront of shielding the humanity from the deadly disease by demonstrating its ability to mass produce the much needed vaccine and offer its own version as well. India's indigenous vaccine, Covaxin, has certain unique features based on the whole virus approach, and this is a commendable achievement, and all concerned deserve kudos for foresight, perseverance and fruition of spirited efforts. noting that development and administering of vaccine is guided by a stringent regime of protocols as well as strict monitoring of attendant data without any compromise. The Vice President referred to the regulator's assurance to the nation of due diligence before giving the nod to the two vaccines, that's Covishield and Covaxin. It happened yesterday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the 75th National Metrology Conclave today. Metrology is that science of measurement. So, National Metrology Conclave 2021, it's being organized by the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, the National Physical Laboratory, which is entering into its 75th year of inception. So, the conclave is under the theme Metrology for Inclusive Growth of the Nation. And while addressing the conclave, the Prime Minister hailed the Indian scientists and technicians involved in developing two made-in-India COVID vaccines. He urged CSIR scientists to converse and to share their experiences with the youth of the country so that they can develop the next generation of scientists.
नया साल अपने साथ एक और बड़ी उपलब्धि लेकर आया है। भारत के वैज्ञानिकों ने एक नहीं दो मेड इन इंडिया कोविड वैक्सीन विकसित करने में सफलता पाई है। भारत में दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा कोविड वैक्सीन प्रोग्राम भी शुरू होने जा रहा है। इसके लिए देश को अपने वैज्ञानिकों के योगदान पर बहुत गर्व है।
And the Prime Minister also dedicated the Bharatiya Nirdeshak Dravya to the nation. The Prime Minister said that India is one among those countries in the world which has its own navigation system. And today, we've taken another step, is what the Prime Minister said, releasing the Bharatiya Nirdeshak Dravya. He added that it is going to encourage our industry to make quality products.
आज भारत दुनिया के उन देशों में है जिनके पास अपना नेविगेशन सिस्टम है। नाविक से भारत ने ये उपलब्धि हासिल करके दिखाई है।
And the Prime Minister also said that the country is completing 75 years of independence in 2022 and 100 years of independence in 2047. Keeping that in mind, new resolutions of Atmanirbhar Bharat, the Prime Minister urging the people to move forward in that direction, setting new standards and benchmarks.
वर्ष 2022 में अपनी स्वतंत्रता के 75 वर्ष पूरे कर रहा है। वर्ष 2047 में 2047 में हमारी आजादी के 100 वर्ष होंगे। इस टाइम पीरियड में हमें आत्मनिर्भर भारत के नए संकल्पों को ध्यान में रखते हुए नए मानकों, नए पैमानों, न्यू स्टैंडर्ड्स, न्यू बेंचमार्क्स को गढ़ने की दिशा में आगे बढ़ना ही है।
Dedicating the National Atomic Timescale to the country, the Prime Minister said that the timescale will pave the way for the country to become self-sufficient in measuring time up to nanoseconds.
इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड टाइम, उसको हमारा इंडियन स्टैंडर्ड टाइम 3 नैनो सेकंड से भी कम की एक्यूरेसी लेवल से मैच कर रहा है। इसमें इसरो सहित हमारे जितने भी संस्थान कटिंग एज टेक्नोलॉजी में काम कर रहे हैं, उनको बहुत मदद मिलने वाली है। इससे बैंकिंग, रेलवे, डिफेंस, हेल्थ, टेलीकॉम, वेदर फोरकास्ट, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट, अनगिनत सेक्टर से जुड़ी आधुनिक टेक्नोलॉजी में ये बहुत मदद मिलेगी।
Highlighting India's rank on the Global Innovation Index, the Prime Minister said that the country has reached the top 50 in the rankings. He underlined that the government's efforts are strengthening the basic research and promoting collaborations between industry and institutions.
पिछले 6 सालों में देश ने इसके लिए नए सिरे से फ्यूचर रेडी इकोसिस्टम बनाने की दिशा में काम किया है। आज भारत ग्लोबल इनोवेशन रैंकिंग में दुनिया के टॉप 50 देशों में पहुंच गया है। देश में आज बेसिक रिसर्च पर भी जोर दिया जा रहा है और पीयर रिव्यूड साइंस एंड इंजीनियरिंग पब्लिकेशंस की संख्या में भारत दुनिया के टॉप 3 देशों में है। आज भारत में इंडस्ट्री और इंस्टीट्यूशंस के बीच कोलैबोरेशन भी मजबूत किया जा रहा है।
And with the focus on experience gained from the past, the country's science and technology gets strengthened, said the Prime Minister. Full of hope, the Prime Minister says that the country has further advanced in technologies and this will encourage research and promote new industries. This will take the country forward, the Prime Minister said.
अतीत से लेकर वर्तमान तक आप कभी भी देखें, जिस देश ने साइंस को जितना आगे बढ़ाया है वो देश उतना ही आगे बढ़ा है। ये साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी और इंडस्ट्री का वैल्यू क्रिएशन साइकिल है। साइंस से कोई आविष्कार होता है तो उसी के प्रकाश में टेक्नोलॉजी विकसित होती है और टेक्नोलॉजी से इंडस्ट्री खड़ी होती है, नए उत्पाद तैयार होते हैं, नए आइटम निकलते थे, प्रोडक्ट निकलते हैं। इंडस्ट्री फिर नए रिसर्च के लिए साइंस में इन्वेस्ट करती है और ये साइकिल नई संभावनाओं की दिशा में आगे बढ़ती जाती है।
And the Prime Minister also laid the foundation stone for the National Environment Standards Laboratory, and this will aid self-reliance in the certification of ambient air and industrial emission monitoring equipment, so that the laboratory will help the country to achieve and become a global partner in the market of air purification.
भारत पर्यावरण की दिशा में दुनिया का नेतृत्व करने की तरफ बढ़ रहा है, लेकिन एयर क्वालिटी और एमिशन को मापने की टेक्नोलॉजी से लेकर टूल्स तक हम दूसरों पर निर्भर रहे हैं। आज इसमें भी आत्मनिर्भरता के लिए हमने एक बड़ा कदम उठाया है। इससे भारत में प्रदूषण से निपटने के लिए ज्यादा सस्ते और प्रभावी सिस्टम तो विकसित ही होंगे, साथ में एयर क्वालिटी और एमिशन से जुड़ी टेक्नोलॉजी के ग्लोबल मार्केट में भी भारत की हिस्सेदारी बढ़ जाएगी।
The next round of talks between the centre and the farmers' unions is underway in New Delhi. And the Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar, Union Minister Piyush Goyal and Union Minister of State for Commerce and Industry Som Prakash attending this meet. Earlier, talks between the government and the farmer unions were held on the 30th of December in 2020. And Shailendra Mishra now joins us with an update on the story. Well, Shailendra, any breakthrough in the talks?
देखिए, जो बैठक है वो बहुत ही अच्छे और सौहार्दपूर्ण वातावरण में शुरू हुई थी और भोजन के लिए थोड़ी देर का ब्रेक भी हुआ था। उसके बाद जो दूसरे दौर की बातचीत है आज की बैठक की वो भी शुरू हो गई, लेकिन किसान नेताओं की तरफ से इस तरह के कोई संकेत नहीं है कि वो अपने रुख को लेकर कोई बदलाव करने वाले हैं। क्योंकि हम जानते हैं पिछली जो बैठक हुई थी उसमें 2 अहम मुद्दों पर सहमति बनी थी। अब जो एमएसपी को कानूनी गारंटी देने से जुड़ा मुद्दा है और साथ ही साथ 3 कृषि कानूनों को रद्द करने की कुछ किसान संगठन मांग कर रहे हैं, उसको लेकर दरअसल देखें तो बात आगे नहीं बढ़ पा रही है। और दरअसल सरकार की कोशिश ये है, हम जानते हैं कि बार बार ये कहा गया सरकार की तरफ से और लगातार इस बात को कहा जा रहा है कि तथ्यों के आधार पर जो प्रावधान है 3 कृषि कानूनों को बिंदुवार क्लॉज बाय क्लॉज सरकार चर्चा को तैयार है। उस पर जो एक भ्रम है कि कुछ किसानों के बीच या किसान संगठनों के बीच, अगर उनको तथ्यों को लेकर कोई आपत्ति है या उन्हें लगता है कि ये प्रावधान किसानों के हित में नहीं है, तो उस पर सरकार समाधान की ओर आगे बढ़ने को तैयार है। लेकिन अभी तक इस तरह के कोई संकेत नहीं मिले हैं कि किसान अपने रुख को लेकर कोई बदलाव करना चाहते हैं। हालांकि उम्मीद ये है कि सरकार की तरफ से जो कोशिश जारी है, तो हमें इंतजार करना होगा जब ये बैठक खत्म होगी कि सकारात्मक दिशा में बैठक कहां तक आगे बढ़ पाई है। क्योंकि संकेत इस बात के मिल रहे हैं कि सौहार्दपूर्ण वातावरण में बैठक शुरू हुई थी और जो पिछली जो बैठक में 2 अहम मुद्दों पर जो सहमति बनी थी, पराली को लेकर और प्रस्तावित विद्युत अधिनियम को लेकर, उसको और आगे बढ़ाया जाए, तो अन्य मुद्दों पर भी सहमति के रास्ते खोजे जाए, उस ओर आगे बढ़ने की कोशिश इस बैठक में हो रही है। इन 2 जो अहम मुद्दे हैं उनमें से किन पर सहमति बनती है, आगे क्या कोई रास्ता निकलता है कि बातचीत आगे की किस दिशा में आगे बढ़े, उसके लिए हमें इंतजार इसलिए करना होगा क्योंकि हम जानते हैं कि जो बैठक है वो अभी चल रही है। लेकिन निश्चित तौर पर बहुत महत्वपूर्ण इसलिए है क्योंकि जो आज जो मुद्दे हैं, ये वही मुद्दे हैं दरअसल जो किसान संगठनों के लिए एक प्रश्न है, जिन मुद्दों को लेकर वो इस पूरे आंदोलन में जो तमाम किसान संगठनों सामने आए हैं, उसमें खास बातें हम जानते हैं मार्क कि देश भर के तमाम ऐसे किसान संगठन हैं जो समर्थन कर रहे हैं, जो कह रहे हैं कि ये कृषि कानून है, ये किसानों के फायदे के लिए लाया गया।
Indeed, so there the farmers are divided because lots of farmers unions are also supporting the bills. So when will we know by the end of today that what the outcome of these talks are? How long are the talks likely to take, Shailendra?
कम से कम मतलब लगता है कि 1 से 1.5 घंटे और बातचीत का आज दौर चलेगा, क्योंकि भोजन अवकाश अभी थोड़ी देर पहले ही खत्म हुआ है और दूसरे दौर की बातचीत होनी है। एमएसपी को लेकर दरअसल पिछली बैठक में एक प्रस्ताव आया था कि सरकार एक समिति बना दे जो एमएसपी को किस तरह से ये आगे जो कानूनी गारंटी की बात मांग जो कर रहे हैं तमाम किसान संगठन, उस पर एक समिति बनाने की बात थी। हम जानते हैं कि सरकार की तरफ से स्पष्ट तौर पर कई फोरम पर ये कहा गया है उच्चतम स्तर पर कि एमएसपी पहले भी थी और आगे भी जारी रहेगी और एमएसपी पर सरकारी खरीद होती रहेगी। तो उसको लेकर सरकार बिल्कुल स्पष्ट है किस तरह से इस मुद्दे का समाधान हो और जो किसान संगठनों की मांग है उसके मुताबिक एक सहमति बने सरकार और किसान संगठनों के बीच, उस पर आगे बढ़ने की कोशिश हो रही है।
Shailendra Mishra, thank you for those inputs. Moving on then to our next story, the income tax officials investigating alleged Benami property of the businessman Robert Vadra, who's the son-in-law of the Congress leader Sonia Gandhi, they've recorded Vadra's statement today. So this IT team, the income tax department team, which reached Vadra's office in East Delhi's Sukhdev Vihar, they did so this afternoon, and he was summoned earlier by the department, but he had sought more time, citing the coronavirus. And the case is linked to properties that he allegedly purchased in the United Kingdom through arms dealer Sanjay Bhandari. After a gap of over 9 months since the outbreak of COVID-19, educational institutions, including schools, colleges, universities, coaching institutes have reopened in Bihar from today. So classes 9 onwards, upwards that is, have commenced, and with 50% of their strength in order to maintain social distance in the classrooms. Wearing of a mask in the school on the campus by the students is mandatory, without which the students will not be allowed to enter the premises. All institutions will have to be following the COVID-19 protocols very strictly. And colleges and also university campuses, they have opened in Kerala. This is after 294 days of being closed. This is since the 16th of March last year, and only 50% of the students are being admitted to the classes in a shift. The working hours have been extended from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and this is to adjust the shifts if required. Colleges can arrange this in 2 different batches, so that's how the time is being distributed. Classes also have begun for the 5th and 6th semester of the degree students and for all postgraduate students as well. Higher Education Minister Dr. K.T. Jalil called an online meeting of college principals in order to review the arrangements and to address concerns regarding the opening of the schools. And in Tamil Nadu, the government has given permission to open theatres there, multiplexes and theatres in the state with full capacity. Currently, all theatres were open with 50% seating capacity. The order states that theatres can function at full capacity. Along with this, they have to strictly follow the COVID-19 protocol. Security measures have to be shown on the screen during showtime to increase awareness among the audience. The death toll in the roof collapse incident, the accident that took place at Muradnagar in Ghaziabad district in Uttar Pradesh, has risen to 24. This tragic accident occurred when people were actually attending the last rites of a loved one, which happened, and they were taking shelter following the rain there under the roof of the structure. This has happened at a crematorium in Muradnagar. The roof suddenly collapsed, under which many of them were trapped and unfortunately lost their lives. The Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath assured all possible help to the victims of this accident, and he announced an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees to the next of kin of the deceased. Also, 3 people, including the Muradnagar municipality's executive officer, they have been arrested in this case, and a case has been registered against 5 persons. News about the cold wave in Jammu and Kashmir. Traffic on the Jammu-Srinagar National Highway has been suspended. There's been fresh snowfall there in various areas. The national highway has been blocked as a result, including the Jawahar Tunnel, and overnight heavy rainfall in the lower reaches affected the movement of vehicles. Traffic has been suspended from Udhampur to Srinagar, and the closing of the highway has caused hundreds of trucks to be left stranded at various points of the highway at Udhampur, as we can see. Justice Sanjeev Banerjee was sworn in as the Chief Justice of the Madras High Court by the Governor Banwari Lal Purohit. This happened at the Raj Bhavan in Chennai today. He succeeds the Chief Justice Amreshwar Pratap Sahi, who retired from service on the 31st of December 2020. The Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy, Deputy Chief Minister Paneer Selvam, State Ministers and senior officials and members of the legal fraternity were present on the occasion. These days, the Rashtra Rifles battalions in Rajouri and Riyasi, they are organizing medical and veterinary camps for the Gujjar and the Pakharwal population there. Nandita Dagar reports about this.
We are at a place called Lunitraman. This is a part of Rajouri district, and although Rajouri is a bordering district, this place is not. It is actually 50 to 60 kilometers from the line of control with Pakistan occupied Kashmir. But what is significant is that over there, these are the Pir Panjal ranges, and this place called Badhal Ki Gali, which is very, very adjacent to these Pir Panjal ranges, was a route for the Pakistani-backed terrorists to cross over into the Kashmir Valley from this place using passes during the summers, and that is why to win over the hearts and minds of the population here was very, very critical for the army. As you can see, women and children, they are all availing the facilities that they are getting here. There is free clothing which is being distributed by an NGO which has been organized by the army. Also a dispensary where free medicines are being given, protection against the coronavirus, which includes a sanitizer, a few tablets, and soaps, etc. Other hygiene products are also being distributed to the women and children. A veterinary camp in progress over there. The majority of the population of this area, which is mostly Gujjars and Bakarwals, these are nomadic shepherding communities. They have goats, sheep, mules, horses, and it is in these remote areas which are not even connected by very good roads. It is very important that these animals, they are taken care of.
मैं घोड़ा लेकर आया था और अपनी माता को लेकर आया था. माता की आंखों को दर्द था, ऐसे जिस्म में दर्द रहता है, तो फौज वालों ने बहुत मदद की है, दवाई दी है, घोड़े को भी दवाई दी है.
With camera person Smriti Ranjan Mahapatra in Lunitraman in Rajouri, this is Nandita Dagar for DD News.
Some international news now. In Niger, over 100 people were killed and 20 injured in terrorist attacks on 2 villages in western Niger. The Prime Minister Brigi Rafini said that the day was one of the deadliest days in recent memory of the country. Rafini also announced that over 70 people were killed in the village of Tombakhu, and 30 others in the village of Zoramdarier. However, no terrorist group has claimed responsibility for these attacks. Meanwhile, the attacks they came on the same day that election officials announced results for the first round of Niger's presidential vote that put the ruling party candidate and the former government minister Mohamed Bazoum in the clear lead. In the United States, the 117th Congress convened on Sunday with the swearing-in of the newly elected and returning senators. The newly elected senators include the Tennessee Republican Bill Hagerty and the Colorado Democrat John Hickenlooper. Also, the New Mexico Democrat Ben Ray Lujan, among others. The Senate will reconvene on Wednesday. And Nancy Pelosi was narrowly re-elected as the Speaker of the House of Representatives amid political uncertainty, with the Senate control undecided and a Republican fight looming over the presidential election results. The House voted 216 to 209 to reinstate Pelosi after the Democrats lost 11 seats in the November elections to command a narrower 222 to 212 majority. 5 Democrats chose not to support her, of which 2 voted for Democratic lawmakers who were not running, while 3 others simply voted present. After being re-elected, Pelosi said in a floor speech that the most urgent priority of the House will be to continue defeating the coronavirus. Britain took another giant step in the fight against COVID-19 today, ramping up its immunization program by giving the first shots in the world after the vaccine created by Oxford University and pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca. Also, dialysis patient Brian Pinker, 82, was the first to get the new vaccine shot administered by the chief nurse at the Oxford University Hospital. 6 hospitals in England are administering the first of around 530,000 doses that Britain has ready. The program will be expanded to hundreds of other British sites in the coming days, and the government hopes it will deliver tens of millions of doses within months. All members of the Indian cricket team, including the isolated 5 and the support staff, they've all tested negative for the coronavirus after undergoing the RT-PCR test on Sunday, the 3rd test of this tour of Australia, the Australia-India 4-test match series. It starts on the 7th of January at the Sydney Cricket Ground. And that's all we have in this news bulletin. Thank you very much for your company. Namaskar.